Welcome to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? I'm pre-recording this because I am headed to New Orleans for the dental festival. I get to talk and train on leadership and communication and the model and hang out with some really cool people. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about the topic that we're going to chat about today. And that is the one around the word should. I've talked a lot about how we should all over ourselves, but I've not yet reserved an entire podcast on digging a little deeper into this subtle yet profound way of living. This persistent notion, if you will, that our life just isn't good enough or that we are missing out on something can be the undercurrent of a lot of our unhappiness and the thief of our potential, our evolution, our possibilities, our growth. And so that is what we are going to tackle today. What if instead of constantly feeling that our reality falls short of our ideals, we embraced what is and found the magic in the moment? I get it. It's easy to get caught in the trap of comparisons, especially in our hyper-connected digital world. The better we get at aligning ourselves to our own dreams and desires, as opposed to the highlight reels of others, the more we step into who we are. I might also add who we've always been. If you've been with me for a while, you know my story. And if you are new, welcome. I love having you here. But a conversation on living in shoulds, okay, would not be complete without this share. I lived the majority of my early teens and 20s thinking that I should be different, thinking that if I was just prettier, or more athletic, or smarter, that my dad, who left my life at 8 and hadn't returned, would come back into my life. I think at some point I realized that my dad wasn't coming back. I think I realized that, but the pursuit was always there. This notion that if I was different, better in some way, anyway, all the ways, that I would finally be lovable. And maybe if my dad couldn't see it, maybe someone else could. It wasn't until I realized that this someone was me. And it wasn't until I dropped this shameful story that this became an option for me to choose. I was way too busy shoulding all over myself, blaming myself for not being good enough. And when that felt awful, I would blame everyone else for all the reasons that my life wasn't better. And as long as I was in pursuit of more for all the wrong reasons, it never mattered how much I achieved or how much I accomplished. I always felt the void. I felt that there was something missing. Do you know what was missing? Can you guess? Acceptance. Acceptance of my story as it is, not how I thought it would, how I thought it should be. I think sometimes we think our life should look like this, that we are born perfectly healthy with amazing parents that love us unconditionally, that give us the agency and the space to learn and evolve and grow without passing down their belief systems and ways of the world. And they don't leave. when you're 8 and never return, and that we should go through school without being shoved against lockers and locked in bathrooms, right? That we should graduate valedictorian of our high school. I mean, all of that work should matter. And we can attend whatever college we want because there's no financial consideration. And we graduate college and we land the perfect job and the perfect marriage and we have children without struggle or strife. Like, who has this light? Do you? And if you do, please message me. I've yet to run across anyone that has this life. And here's the thing. I don't think we would want to. I think we raised our hands knowing that this life was going to be both beautiful and challenging, and we came anyway. I truly believe that the reason we're not as happy or as successful or as connected as we might like to be is because we haven't learned how to embrace and open up to the life that is our life, us, you. So, what is a should be mentality? I think a should be mentality is a cognitive framework, right, where individuals constantly evaluate, right, their current circumstances, actions, feelings, or life choices against a set of preconceived notions or standards of how things should be, rather than accepting and understanding them as they are. And these have been borrowed, inherited from our caretakers and parents and anyone that wants to offer up advice. And I'm not sure about where you live in the world, but there's a lot of people that like to offer up a ton of advice where I live. And this mindset is incredibly limiting and generally has us feeling inadequate, frustrated, and bitter, and resentful, and stressed. Okay. And I want to offer ways in which this should life shows up for you. Because I get that my story has nothing to do with your potential and your capacity and your ability to step into your brilliance, your awesomeness. But what I know for sure is your story does. So I thought I would flush out some of these scenarios that show up in our real life so that you could catch some insights and maybe create some opportunities for some self-awareness, for transformational shifts. So the first way that I see the should life coming into fruition is by what I'm going to call a comparative framework, right? The should be mentality is often rooted in comparison, where we measure our success, our worth, our happiness against others. It's the mindset of, I should be as successful as my colleagues, or I should be married by now, like my friends. I should be able to take vacations like they do and have the reels that they do and have an amazing, happy, brilliant, magnificent family like they do. And when we compare and envy, we shift our attention from who we are and who we can become, possibility, to why it is not possible for us. Consider this. What we don't accept, we judge. We judge in ourselves, we judge in others, and judging is not that motivating, okay? The second way that I see this show up in our life is what I'm going to refer to as internalized expectations, right? This mentality absorbs societal, familial, and cultural standards and pressures. These expectations for so many of us are borrowed, like I said, from our parents and our caretakers. They're not even rightfully ours. And yet we steal them for our own detriment, right? Beliefs such as, I should have a stable job by 25, or I should always be strong and not show my emotions, or I should be more popular, or I should be more wealthy or healthy or more social, right? All of these expectations of ourselves can be part of this thinking. And when we're doing it in a way that shames ourselves, we're not motivated to step into the growth that exist in the awareness of what it is. Okay. I also see this show up a lot in guilt and regret. Okay. I coach a lot of people around guilt and regret. A lot of the moms that I work with have this regret around feeling as if they should have been a better parent, or they should have chosen a different career path, or they shouldn't have worked outside of the home, or they should have not worked outside of the home, right? Or I should have started this career earlier, or I should have never been married, or I should have waited to have kids longer, right? All of these shoulds, right, rooted in guilt and regret, can perpetuate negative emotions. And I get how necessary regret can feel. And this is what my clients will offer me. Leah, if I don't regret what I did, or how it happened, or what didn't happen, then I will make the same mistake. But friends, that's not how it works. Okay, same with guilt. Both regret and guilt are coming from the shaming and should family. Okay, and when we are knee deep in regret and drowning in our guilt, it takes everything we can to just tread water. We end up not getting any farther ahead, and the cycle repeats. And when you're in the water treading, you lose access to learn, to grow, and to expand. You're just trying to stay alive. You're not seeking new opportunities. You're literally just kicking as hard as you can so you don't go under. The other way that I see this show up is resistance to reality. Okay, instead of accepting, like I mentioned earlier, and finding contentment in the current moment or situation, there's this constant feeling that things are not right or good enough as they are. And your brain will go to work to find all sorts of evidence to prove you right. And you will look to everyone and everything through this lens that your life is deficient in some way. You will look for all of the ways that you are disqualified from the life that you want. And when we do this, myself included, we sell ourselves short every time. So I want you just to pay attention to where you're resisting what is. And I say this a lot on this podcast. I'm not suggesting that we approve of all things and that we're happy-go-lucky and we just have to think positive all the time. That is not what I teach. Those are not the tools that I teach here. Quite frankly, as I've been coaching people, I find what most people would consider a positive thought incredibly toxic, right? So it's not just about thinking positive. It's accepting what is and using it as an opportunity to grow and to expand, as an asset, if you will. Okay? The next way that I see this show up in our life is limiting growth. This is not a very sexy name for this, but I didn't know what else to name it. So I'm just going to call it limiting growth. And here's what I mean by it. By focusing on how things should be, okay, we miss out on opportunities to learn and grow and innovate from our current situation, kind of like what I said before. And I've hit this a lot already, but a lot of our shoulding in our life has already happened. It's from the past. And what we forget is potential and possibility don't reside in the past. This growth is available in our now, but we miss it when we're ruminating about how our life should have looked. What would happen? I'm asking what would happen if we use the same amount of energy and attention to create and design our now moments instead of indulging in all of the ways that your past let you down, that your parents let you down, that your dad left you down, that your coach left you down, that a sibling left you down. And when we do that, we pretty much guarantee ourselves a future of letdowns. The other one that came up strong as I was flushing out all of the ways the should life shows up in our life is rejection of self, right? Constantly measuring ourself against the should be yardstick can lead to an incredible lack of self-acceptance and eroding self-esteem and self-worth. And I think this is probably the worst offender of the should life. Shoulding on yourself is rejecting the very gift that you are. And when you reject the gift that you are also rejecting the gifts that you were born with to give. And I think this is the crime of the century. I truly believe that we were born into this world to live and to give. And when we don't do that, we are unable to share with the world what is required. Guys, there is something unique about you. And I'm talking about you. Yes, you listening to this. There is something unique about you. Of the billions of people in the world, you are. That means something. It has to. And in rejecting yourself and your inherent gifts, you rob humanity, me, your peers, your colleagues, your communities of learning and expanding and evolving in the way that they could. I believe that your gifts are unique for a certain set of people, if not for more people. And if we're shitting all over ourselves, there's no way possible those are going to become available for us to step into and choose for ourselves, because we will resist it. And we will constantly be spinning in what I've been calling this BS cycle, the shaming cycle that we're not enough, and then the blaming cycle that other people aren't enough. So I truly believe that challenging and reframing these should be thoughts is crucial for our mental well-being, our personal growth, and a fulfilling life. It's about embracing the present and understanding one's own unique journey and recognizing that everyone's path is different and it's supposed to be different. If we were all running around on the same path trajectory, right? I'm going to add the same perfect path trajectory. How boring would that life look like? How boring would it be? How fulfilling would it be? I don't think it would be. So my hope is that you know how it shows up in your life, how all of these shoulding psychological frameworks and states of cognition show up to reveal to you that you should be different than you are in some way. So how do we shift? How do we drop this should mentality and adopt the what is mentality? I think the key to embracing what is to understand what acceptance is and what it isn't. And I touched on that briefly already. But acceptance is not about resignation or defeat. It's not about conceding. It's not about just throwing our hands up and saying, well, whatever, it is what it is. That's not what I'm talking about. It's acknowledging reality without judging it. It's also not approval. It's not denial. It's understanding the difference between acceptance and complacency. It's using your life as your teacher to learn and to stack skills so that you are ready. Ready for what, you might ask? I'm so glad you asked. Your potential. Your potential is waiting for you. Doors will open. But I'm here to say, I don't think they do until you have proven that you have done the work and are ready. Are you ready? I like to think that I'm doing the work so that I am ready for whatever, for whoever. I want to be ready for my life. And I work every single day to help and support people to be ready for theirs. There's lots of tools and frameworks and philosophies required for your readiness. But I truly believe that the work is predicated on shifting this should. It starts with that. Until we shift the should, we will be forever at the mercy and live our life as a victim of it, instead of the creator and the designer that we are. And one of the ways that I want to invite you to do that is to embrace the present. I believe not only is it requirement, right, to live your life all out, it has physiological and psychological benefits. And you know this, kids, this is the work that I talk about all the time on the show, right? There is an epidemic of anxiety and stress and mental, I'm going to call it a decrease in brain health, right? And all of these tools, by embracing the present, helps. It helps reduce anxiety and stress. It helps increase mental clarity and focus. It helps support and enhance emotional well-being and resilience. The presence is this beautiful connection between acceptance and mindfulness. And the other tool that we use is the one that you know of as the model, okay? The model is an awareness tool to reframe reality. And like I mentioned, we need to shift from obstacle to opportunity, liability to asset. There are so many stories where individuals have turned challenges into chances by embracing what is. And I want to invite you to choose the same for you. Keep in mind, your reality doesn't change either way. It doesn't. There is no amount of shitting your situation that is going to make it any different or better. Trust me, I have decades of experience in shitting all over myself. It didn't change my reality. It just changed how I showed up for it. It robs you of your happiness, your joy, your peace, your fulfillment, relationships. Most importantly, the one I found was the one that I had with myself. So what can you do on the daily to embrace this present, right? Simple practices that are inexpensive or cost you nothing. Just mindfulness and meditation tailored specifically for acceptance. Journaling prompts for self-reflection on resisting versus embracing situations. There's cognitive reframing techniques from I should be to I am or I could, or just hasn't happened yet. And when we frame in yet, we frame in possibility. We don't look to the past for evidence as to why it's not possible. Even if it wasn't possible in the past, remember? No potential, no possibility there. What if in your life, the what is just hasn't happened yet? I also think that building a very supportive environment is crucial to maintaining presence and acceptance. Surrounding ourselves with positive and understanding individuals that are here to be curious and compassionate, not necessarily here to fix. I want you to also consider limiting the exposure to social media. And then I say this a lot. I don't hate social media. I don't. I think it's a beautiful opportunity for us to engage in the world and to connect with people all over. However, I believe that when we start our mornings checking out what everyone else is doing, we literally check out from what we could be doing. And I think it's a dangerous line that we play every day. Swiping, judging, comparing. trying to one up so that we can feel better, or be on the other side of it and feel less than. Just be mindful. I think in addition to that, can you consume inspirational content, right? That celebrates authenticity and this human journey that we're all on together. There is so much liberating power of acceptance, embracing and being open to the unknown, the uncertainty, knowing that you are the author of your future, and it is unwritten. It is. It holds excitement and potential if you are willing to be open to its unexpected twists and turns. So I want to challenge you to practice acceptance daily and observe the shifts that will happen undoubtedly in your mindset and in your life. I also want you to share your own experiences with this should be mindset. I want you to DM me, email me, text me. You know how to reach me. I want to know where you get trapped, you get stuck, you feel caged in this should be life, in this BS cycle where you're blaming everybody on how you think your life should be and why they are to blame. And when that is unsuccessful, you start shaming and blaming yourself. I want us out of this trap, because this is the trap that keeps us stuck and playing way too small and way beneath our capabilities. I want to thank you for being with me today. And if you want support shifting from this should be life, and you are impatient like me, and want fast and transformational results, I want you to get on our wait list for Shift. We're opening up a brand new program where we're talking about quantum science, neuroplasticity, human behavior change for massive transformational shifts in your life. I want this for every single one of you. And if you're more of a reader and you want to navigate this shift a little more slower, snag our book. It just published. It's on Amazon. It should be in the show notes. It's called Shift. And I'm super excited about this book, and I'm super excited for the power of the transformational journey that book will walk you through. All right, my beautiful, beautiful friends. I will see you next week. Have a most amazing day, and we will talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrowling.com.